welcome back to my airline on AirlineSim, British Atlantic Airways. It has been, I think, 10 days since my last video, and the reason for that is I've been horrendously ill. So, if you don't know, if you're not from the UK, at the moment there's been this horrendous flu going around that's basically crippling our health service at the moment. I think I caught it, unfortunately. But anyway, back to the airline, and the airline's going really well. So as you can see, I'm up to 62 planes now, still all based at London Heathrow, and the slots are getting quite low. So that's the sort of thing that I'm sort of focusing on now, is getting as many of these as possible. But since the last update, I've had a little bit more contact with British Skies, PK Global, and the guy who runs Betelgeuse, the other British airline that's set up. All just sort of discussing what we're going to be doing basically after London Heathrow is full. And I think, from what British Skies told me, he's going to be going to Stansted because he's from Essex. So I think that's probably where he's going to go. I'm going to go Gatwick after Heathrow has gotten full. And Betelgeuse is, I think, Scottish. So I think he's going to head up to sort of north of England. Manchester obviously isn't in Scotland, but it's probably a good airport for him to go to. But let's have a look at our airline though. So what's the best way to look at this? So one of the big airlines in Europe that I was sort of ranting about in my last video actually did quit, Terry Airlines, which gave us slots at Frankfurt, Munich and Zurich. So the moment that they went, I just started buying A321s and 737-900s and shoving them on those routes. So if I go scheduling, if I go Frankfurt, I've managed to get 7 daily flights into Frankfurt now, whereas because Terrycom had all the slots, I only had one flight, which was this one, going into Frankfurt. My Munich, I think, is 5 times daily now. Yeah, so sorry, it looks like it's 4 times daily. I've not scheduled that one, but yeah, so I'm really happy with that. And Zurich was the other base he had that was huge, and now I'm up to 4 times daily, considering I only had 1 times daily. So I'm really happy with that. And the other things I've been doing is just basically expanding my fleet and just building this network, European network up. So as you can see now, it's a far better route map now. I go to pretty much most places in Europe now that you'd probably expect from a carrier based in the UK. I have got Airbus A321s now, which are probably going to be the main plane in my fleet, and I am starting to make quite a lot of money. Like I can make 3 million quite quickly now. This is my financials for the last 2 weeks. So the next week after my last week that I showed you was 9.6 million, sorry. Then 17 million profit, and then this week I'm currently up to 6 million profit, but that was only for a couple of days. So I'm basically doubling or nearly doubling my revenue, but I am basically doubling my profits. So everything is going really well. I'm very happy with that. What my plans are, if I show you going forward, is I need to start looking more towards long haul. Now, I do have a couple of long haul flights, but they're sort of a mixed bag. So if I do Doha, for example, this one's doing quite well. Obviously, low prices. I've got my Atlantic service on there. This is a 757, so this one's making good money. So Doha's doing all right. I believe Dubai isn't doing as great. However, I seem to remember when I went on this, it was making quite a bit of money. Oh, maybe not. What about the reverse flight? No, maybe if I just lower... Let's lower this price to 235. Return airport fare. There you go. And hopefully that'll increase the loads on the economy. Yeah, and then my other long haul flight, which was Toronto. Again, it's a mixed bag. It's, I'm losing money on it. I'm not really getting much passengers from it at all. But that is because I'm running a 757 that's ancient across the pond, when really I should be using an A350, 787, something like that. So it's quite tricky to know whether do I just jump in and start buying some long haul planes. But the other issue with that is there is no long haul planes on the market, I do not think. So there's no 787s. Let's check A350s. No A350s. That was A330 Neos. There's A330 Neos. Interesting. And there's some quite cheap ones as well. These are Zurich based. So these were Turicom's Airlines ones. Now, look, I've used these before. They're not the best wide body. The 787 is probably the best one on the game in terms of making money and filling it up. The A350 is probably the best overall. What about normal A330s? Not even any normal A330s. There is a few LRs on the market and a couple of XLRs, but yeah. Anyway, so the Heathrow situation's obviously as expected. Us and British guys are taking all the slots. There's just over a quarter slots left. So I reckon by the turn of the new year, this will be less than 10%, and so we'll be having to focus on moving to other airports, which I'm looking forward to. So I think let's have a look at British guys, how they're doing. So they've just had their week ending, so 21st. So their week ending would have been today, probably today. So yeah, they got 10 Embraer 175s in. I'm thinking just to get some slots in and get to the regional airports. Where they put in those Embraer 175s? Let's have a look. It's up to Aberdeen. Ooh, is that a Curie? So they're sort of going everywhere, aren't they? So a Curie's, I believe, Turkey. No, Iceland. Wow, I got that massively wrong. Okay. That's an interesting one. Where's Asturias? Spain? Not even looked at that. He's got a couple of flights to Barcelona on 7.5 there. That's interesting. Where else? Belfast City, yeah. See, Belfast to London is one of the busiest routes out of London, Heathrow. So I think he's got more flights than me there to Belfast. I'll check that in a second. He's gone to Bremen as well. This is an airport I'm not going to yet. So he is going to places that I'm not with these. I mean, I'm going to South Carolina, yeah. Yeah, so I sort of expected him to put these on sort of shorter routes, but he is just using them mainly just to fill out his European network, which is great for him. I'm sure he'll probably upgrade them at some point or move the Embraer 175s over to London City at some point when the fleet renewal happens. But yeah, no, this is quite a nice little network they've got going on here. See, they've definitely got more destinations than me. But I go to the same destinations more times a day. So, if I go to my Heathrow base here, let's have a look. So, I want to check my Belfast City in a minute. So I've got 2 319s going in and out there. But if you have a look here, I'm going like, I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times daily to Amsterdam, for example. Barcelona, I go 3 times daily. Belfast normal, just 1 a day. I know I hate the way the game does this. So basically, for slot reasons, I've obviously moved the Saturday by 5 minutes, but on this screen it drops it whole down, so it looks as though, if you look here, this looks like I might be going to Antalya 4 times a day, but I'm not. That's all the same flight, and it really irritates me. I don't know if there's a setting to turn it off so it all just goes together. But if you're watching this, maybe that can get fixed in a new update and just do the flight numbers and what days they go on. Maybe just put the times, like put a dash and then put like 8:29 or something we can hover over or something. But I guess it's from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about in coding. Yeah, I do. I did eventually go Birmingham as well. I was happy to get a Bologna flight over as well. But yeah, so if you look down here, so Copenhagen, I go 3 times daily. Again, Dubai, that's just 1 daily, even though it looks like that. Dublin, obviously, do so quite a few times daily, but I'm really happy with Frankfurt now. The fact that Turkish Airlines sort of quit, they had that trio of airports that I noticed, which was Munich, Zurich, and Frankfurt, all in the same place. So the moment they went, I just hammered the slots on that, and I might even get some more flights over there because obviously it's such a big demand. I'm going 3 times daily to Istanbul, twice daily to Jersey, 3 times daily to Lisbon. So yeah, so I'm really happy with my network. I'm really where my network is weakest is Eastern Europe. You're talking so if I go to sort of like, so you're talking like Ukraine, Romania, Latvia, all, I don't go to Croatia yet. So my next set of sort of routes will be sort of filling out this area of Europe, mainly, and then North Africa as well, I think, is what I'm going to focus on next. And then when the slots are getting lower and lower and lower, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a decision on some wide body aircraft. And the only ones available at the moment are the A330 900Es. I'm not a massive fan of them. Let's go like JFK. So what is it? It's the 900Es, isn't it? And then against, obviously I know they're different aircraft, they do different roles, but they're just not. The 787 just mushes the A330s to death on this game, I believe. So we'll take the Dash 9 here, and it's just not even close in terms of profitability. Look at that, 205 per seat versus, on the smaller 787-8, I'll be still be making the same amount of money with less seats. So I could just order some 787s. I'd probably go for the bigger Dash 10, but that's 6.3 million. I do still have the immediate purchase, so I'd get them quite quickly, which is actually quite interesting. Actually, can I get any debt yet? No. I might, when I can get loans, I will do, just to improve my expansion as quickly as possible. But as you can see, I've been buying a mixture of 737-800s, 900s, Airbus A321s, and things. So my fleet is still just as messy as it was before. Eventually, I'm gonna start, I think, just switching over to Neos soon. Any on the market? I mean, they do go quickly. The Neos on the market, whenever there's a 321 Neo Light, it just goes instantly. But if I ordered one of them, how much is it? 2.1 million. Or is that just stupid? I don't know. Let's have a look at these. I mean, these are dirt cheap, aren't they? I've got 3 million gone. I'll get another couple of those in for tonight. I will probably send them to fill up some of these other airports that I probably should go to more than once a week. So Malaga, I might do that up to twice daily. Paris Orly, I'll go up to twice daily at least with one of them. Helsinki, I'll shove a 321 to Helsinki. What else? Athens, maybe I'll go twice daily there. Antalya. But yeah, if you look at the load factors here, I'm averaging 95 out of Heathrow. There's a few lower ones here. So like this Newcastle one here, I might take that down from just over once daily down to just once daily maybe. Aberdeen's taken a hit. That was 100%. But I think that's because British Skies is directly competing with me on more flights there now. But it'll still be making me money. Yeah, so I think those Airbus A321s, I'm going to take them to... so was it Helsinki twice daily. Paris Orly, I might jump up to 3 times daily. How many flights do I do to Charles de Gaulle? Might add another Charles de Gaulle flight in the other waves. So these are my waves. So this was my main wave, right? At Heathrow, and British Skies. Their main wave started, I think it was 6:30 and started at 8. So we've basically just absolutely decimated the morning slots between us, between sort of 6 and 9. So that's done now. So I've had to create some new waves. So my next waves are those. So I'll probably put those flights in there. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get a minimum 80 planes based into Heathrow by the time the slots go. And then I get some wide bodies as well. Beta keys. Let's have a look at these, how these doing. So got up to 11 320 Neos mediums now. Yeah, just a standard sort of network. I don't think they're going anywhere that I'm not. Unless there's any medium hauls. No. Any long hauls? No. But yeah, they're doing all right for themselves. And they'll be filling up all their planes. I've not actually looked at that, to be honest. Let's have a look at United Kingdom. Okay, so so despite me having more planes by quite some way, because British Skies is using bigger planes, they've got more passengers than me at the moment. So if we do capacity per week, so 244 to 224, so they got about about the same as me, 95%. Beetlejuice is 95% as well. Yeah, so I think it's going to be us three for a long time in the UK, which is nice and fun. What the? Casher. Okay. Well, that's an airline in the UK, and that's that weird cargo airline. That's not. There you go. Touch of Cargo Solutions. That's done some random flights out of Heathrow. Yeah. So, not really that as an exciting episode as the last one. We're just expanding quite nicely. The main news is obviously Terracom Airlines in Europe folded, giving us more slots, even at Heathrow as well. The short-term plan is obviously just to keep filling up the Heathrow slots as much as I can. I'm not going to be too greedy. I'm going to try and give British Skies and BTEs a few. I'm not just going to buy 50 ATRs, for example, and just take all the slots. But I did some research into sort of like, well, how many departures a week does British Airways have? And Virgin have, for example, out of Heathrow. So I just did ChatGPT, did it a few times just to get the sort of correct. So in real life, British Airways has 2,100 weekly departures from Heathrow, and Virgin has like 300 or something. So that shows the difference in size between those two airlines. So really, between me and British Skies, we already have the same amount of flights as British Airways. So that it's quite realistic in that aspect. I'm thinking I'll probably have 1,500 slots at the end of it, and he'll probably have about the same. But yeah, and then obviously I'll move over to Gatwick. I might slowly start, and then when I move over to Gatwick, I'm going to start using newer and newer planes the more money we make. So I am extremely tempted to start getting Neos. Now there's 73 of these on the market now. Airbus A320 Neo Lights. Just start replacing some of the old planes with it. And get towards that all Airbus fleet that I'm thinking of. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm sorry it wasn't as great of an episode as the last few, and I should be starting to upload again a little bit more going forward. So yeah, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.